let's just see how we look. We'll try it out, and if we don't like it, we can always unravel. Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor. I'm the founder and designer of NYGC by Taylor, or Not Your Grandma's Crochet. And today slash this week slash this video, we're working on an oldie but a goodie. One of my absolute best-selling products are my NYGC cardigans. This one doesn't look like much for reasons we'll talk about in a second. But I'll put some photos right here of my original blue NYGC cardigan. It's definitely gone through many phases. I first created it October of 2021. October 2020, and it was called the Tea Party Cardigan right here. As my crochet skills have improved, elements of the cardigan have also improved. Back in 2022, I was on a mission to get this huge collection out by the time I graduated college, and I really wanted to refresh my NYGC cardigan and like time it and just make sure that everything was good. And I made this. Now, no shade to this girl, but this is not my NYGC cardigan. I don't know what happened along the way. I think a few things that are, I never put buttons on it. Number one, I never put buttons on it because I just was not proud of it. I wore it a few times. This is me wearing it in Paris to try to like it, but it just doesn't fit like the NYGC cardigan is supposed to fit. It's supposed to be not your grandma's crochet cardigan. It's supposed to be a nice oversized but elegant fit, and this is giving neither oversized nor elegant. So in this video, we are going to get to the bottom of this cardigan and perfect it again. Now, while initially I was thinking I would just unravel that pink one and make it just like fully remake the pink, I low-key think that the pink would be better served in the cropped version, and that's a whole nother story. So for this rendition, we're going to do a beautiful lilac purple. This yarn has been many a thing, but I feel like an NYGC cardigan should be its final destination. I am about to watch a little bit of Love is Blind with my friend, but I will be back later to show you whatever progress I made. But just know, I am so excited. My friend actually stood me up. No, I'm kidding. We're postponing our watch along to tomorrow, but while we were chatting, I did start my foundation chain, and I'm about to finish my first row of double crochets. Like the majority of my projects, if you've seen my stuff, this cardigan is a double crochet cardigan because I love myself. In the original cardigan, it's like the perfect oversized moment, but when I made the pink version, it definitely didn't fit as oversized as I would like, predominantly in the width, which was interesting because I followed the pattern that I wrote down for the blue one to the T for the pink one. So I'm thinking that I actually maybe use a 6.5 millimeter hook to make these cardigans, even though I had written down that I used a 6 millimeter hook. And I decided to just stick with the 6 millimeter hook and redo the measurements because supposedly the blue one is 44 inches wide. So just to be safe, I'm making this purple one 45 inches wide, so like around my bust. And I feel like that is gonna work out for the best. It'll be something like this because I don't want it to be like, you know, completely swallow me up, but I do like when this cardigan in particular has that nice oversized cozy fit. With my bust, which is about a 42-inch bust, I feel like a 45-inch width will be perfect. It might end up being about 46 inches with the ribbed button band, we can call it, but we'll see. I will be just going up and up with my double crochets for quite a while. I'm going to see if I end up regretting using a 6mm hook. But I also couldn't find my 6.5mm hook, is the interesting thing. Although I don't think I would have been using a, no, I definitely used a 6. When I made the original one, I was definitely using, oh, it might have been a 6.5. Do I go up and redo all this, you guys? I feel like the 6 is fine. I feel like the 6 is fine. This is oversized, but I don't want it to be like stretched out and oversized. Like the nature of crochet is to stretch out a little bit over time, but I want to control that as much as possible. So we're gonna stick with the 6mm. Now for this video, I am trying to get into my slightly more aesthetic crochet vlogging era. So let's see what type of fun aesthetic crochet shots I can get.
Which is about a 7 to 8 hour drive, and I can't lie, you guys, this day I was not feeling good at all. I was very nauseous. I didn't feel, oh girl, I don't know what was up with that on this trip, but it was absolutely beautiful. So this day we just relaxed and just slept in the room. You can imagine we were very tired after our long driving day and hike, and we were just preparing for the next day, which is another hiking day.
Howdy girlies. It's the next day. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yesterday I got to 10 rows. I almost finished my 10th row. My goal was honestly to get to 13, because I think the initial foundation of the body part's gonna end up being about 26 rows, but I wanted to read a little bit of my book before I went to bed, and it was already almost 1 o'clock. So anyways, I have a little bit of work to do, but as I'm getting my work done, I think I'm gonna crochet some, but that might not, I'm low-key timing this project, but it's like not an intense timing. It's like I'm not 100% on my P's and Q's, but I want at least an idea of how long it's taking me. So I think I will crochet at work. Anywho, check my progress. No, that's like her dress for sure.
Wow, you look absolutely stunning, Taylor.
And the little pearls, oh my, it's too good.
It's happening. I don't like that it's short though. Hi, Dad.
Hey, Heather. Look at you.
I would have to agree. I don't feel like it was originally short. Maybe she shortened it. Hi guys, it is currently Wednesday evening. I've been working on this on and off for the past 2 days. I guess technically 3 days, but like my next step of like finishing the foundation for the past 2 days. And this is my progress. We have a nice amount that very nicely, how many times will I say nice? That very well wraps around my body. This is kind of an idea of how the fit will be. This is such ill-fitting when you look at it like this, but that kind of gives you an idea. If you're curious, this is about 10 inches. Let me update. Oh, that's supposed to be 11 inches. This might be a task for the morning to like actually measure them out, but yeah, it's 10:59. I am about to get ready for bed and read my book, but I just wanted to update you. Okay, I'll see you in the morning when I will hopefully feel like / remember to measure my past cardigans to make sure that I'm happy with 10 inches. In real time, I just finished these pants, so if you see me wearing them in every single video, just know, yes, they are extremely comfortable. Anyways, a few days ago, I finished the foundation part of this, and then I put this project down to start working on or to finish up these pants. But I'm now at the portion where I'm going to be splitting off for like the front versus the back, and I do it a way currently that I'm trying to decide if it's necessary for me to continue doing it that way. Essentially, like, I leave a gap on each side and I decrease going into the armhole a bit. I can show you. So this is the original NYGC cardigan, and if you notice here, it's not just a straight square, like it has a little bit of shaping. And I mean, this cardigan is just like, it's been through a lot, okay, with my new pants though. Anyways, that's not the topic. I'm trying to decide if this is necessary, because honestly, I've been kind of liking the idea of more of a drop shoulder type vibe. I think that's what it's called. And if any of my cardigans could have a drop shoulder, it's this one and the little new one that I'm working on. But anyways, I feel like it would be fun to test that out for this one. My current favorite not me made cardigan, and this has been my favorite since I thrifted it, I don't know, like 4 or 5 years ago, is this one. It is a v-neck though, so it's not exactly the same, but it has some similarities. And this one is in fact just a drop shoulder one, and I literally, like, I live in it. Even like down to the balloon sleeve of it all, this is kind of the vibe that I'm wanting. Honestly, even the way this is kind of like bunched up. So I fear I just convinced myself. I think for the purple, for this rendition, this attempt, I'm going to be okay with not creating space. So like, you know, typically you split for like the front and the back. I usually will add, or I won't start crocheting until like a few stitches away from a particular point where the front and the back meet. But for this purpose, to test out this whole drop shoulder vibe, I'm going to just find the center between my front and the back and start crocheting at that part. I might still leave a stitch for where the actual center is, depending on if it looks like it's an even number, but I won't like wait 5 stitches or whatever I typically do. So let's get into it, you guys. Even this is a low-key vibe. I do in fact have some purple yarn that, long story short, this purple yarn was supposed to be this yarn, but when it arrived, it was this color, but as Karen Simply Soft, which doesn't exist. So like, it was like a manufacturing bluff. And it was actually from, no, this is so much lore. It was actually for the first made to order of my NYGC cardigan. I'll put a photo here. I was obviously panicked because when I like showed the person who ordered, you know, her color option, she chose it based off this, and now I'm giving her something that like is definitely this color but has this like shiny satiny vibe to it that almost made it maybe slightly darker, but she loved it. literally loved it. And that was my first NYGC cardigan order. Lord, that was back in 2020. That was back in 2020. Yeah, because at that point it wasn't on my website. This person literally just saw it on my Instagram. They were like, hey, this is really cool, I need one. And so I made it. Tea. Well, anyways, let's work on our little drop shoulder vest type vibe, and I will see you while I'm crocheting probably. Let me know in the comments how you've been enjoying my attempt to get multiple angles of me crocheting. Do you like that vibe? Are you crocheting along with me? I'm trying to make my videos a little bit more aesthetic-y, still chatty, but add in a few aesthetics also. Okay, I will admit the cardigan plus the pants, I'm hot. I am. The pants and just a tank top, I'm chilling. The cardigan and the tank top and some regular biker shorts, I'm chilling. But the cardigan and the pants, I'll admit it, I'm hot. So, anyways, I'm going to crochet.
Bounce from one doctor to the next. Does it have to be like this?
At Kaiser Permanente, we have a different kind of healthcare,
So, how did you like that?
where all of us work together for all that is you.
And have my mom do a test fit for me to see how she likes it, whether she wants the armholes to be lower or if that placement of the armholes are good or not. And then I might have to adjust the sleeve sizing to fit that as well. Oh my gosh, the umbrella is blowing away outside. Oh my goodness, Grace is subverted. I've now finished all of the ribbing.
Technically, there was nothing wrong with the second house, like that big, pretty one that we designed all cute. It's just expensive. Like, I don't know. I'm over the landlords. Like, I am the lord of my land. You know what I mean? So a part of me wants to go back to Arizona and just live my truth, but I'm not going to think about any of this.
Picture this. You're sitting here crocheting, kind of like already just like in an anxious state of mind, in the sense that like there's nothing that you really need to do. I do have a few posts I need to make and a magazine cover to work on, but nothing that's like I have to do right now. Like I could crochet for a little bit. So I'm already feeling kind of stressed, but I like push past it to crochet for a little bit. Usually I do like both front panels first and then I do the back, but this time I was like, you know what, the back is usually such a beast, let me just like get it out the way. So I'm at the part where I was deciding, basically like I was about to break off for like the shoulder bit, essentially shaping whatever, and I'm like, okay, like let me make sure that I like have enough rows. So I go to count the front and I'm one row short on the front. I'm one row short on the front. So it's supposed to, like the front armpit part is supposed to be like 10 inches and it's currently 9.5. I feel like 10 inches would eat harder. Like an easy way to display this. Like that extra row, I fear, would actually make a difference. I fear it would actually make a difference in this case. So anyways, I think what happened was at some point last night, I kept having to redo this little neckline bit because whatever. So I think I unraveled one row too many. in the last. Now I have an odd number. And I'm very much like an even number girl. Like I work in even numbers. So when I was initially seeing that odd number, I was like, what's going on? I think I'm going to finish the back. Finish the back, slide over to the front, this front part, refix it. It's literally like right here. Like I need to add one extra row right here and then start doing my decreases. So finish the back, redo that little bit, pause, do my work, come back, do this other front side, which should be literally like so quick, especially after working on the back all this time. And yeah, also yarn ball update. I'm starting to think that I might not actually have enough yarn. I do actually have a brand new skein of this, so I have enough yarn, but I thought this ball would be enough. So that's intriguing. But anyways, that was sad. It would be a lot less sad if it was like, if my yarn wasn't already attached to this, you know? Like if I discovered this yesterday. Because I really want it to be a whole seamless thing where like, you know, I just seamlessly close off the top. But alas.
This lovely cross stitch kit from Junebug and Darlin. So I haven't crossed, but Marley was also selling yarn there. So this was her show color. It's called Matcha Latte. So pretty. It's like a nice matcha kind of celery green. And on the tweed, I was like with the homies at Hobie. It's a wool cotton blend, DK weight, and I picked 12 colors for my temperature blanket. And fun fact, Happy Place just celebrated its 1-year birthday. Happy birthday, Happy Place.
We have first half of the vest portion done. At the beginning I accidentally was doing slip stitches, but I prefer to seam my cardigans together with single crochets just because I don't actually mind if the shoulder bit stretches out a bit, and so I don't want it to be like too tight that's unforgiving of that. Anyways, I need to actually do my little bit of work that I have to do, so I will see you later tonight where we will quickly finish up this front bit and maybe start working on a sleeve. Here is me trying on the finished body of the cardigan, and I am looking at a mirror past you if you're curious, but I think I'm going to actually like how the drop shoulder just creates a nice like boxy moment. Obviously I still have to add the ribbing, which is what's going to close this up, but I feel like this, even not stretched out at all, very nicely and comfortably goes over my chest in a way that like if I want to wear it buttoned up, not that I often do, but should I want to wear it buttoned up, it would still look nice and a comfy fit, as opposed to sometimes just because of my chest it'll like give tight, which we don't want to give that. One thing I did notice, I did low-key try this when I only had the one side done earlier because I was a little bit concerned about the length, because I thought that this was more of a slightly longer length. Like it currently hits like right at my butt. I will be adding the ribbing, which is about 2 to 3 inches. But then I tried on my original cardigan, and even with all the stretching out that it has done, and with the ribbing, it's still like maybe 2 inches down my butt, but not even like halfway covering it. So that was reassuring. And like as you can see with this one fits very nicely in the sense that if I were to want to button this up, give a little modest moment, a little bit chilly, you know, it's possible. Usually if I button up, I do like 2 out of the 5. I do look forward to when this one will eventually reach the full slouchiness of the blue one, but I've literally washed this blue one without being dramatic, at least 20 times, but honestly probably more, because I really wear it almost every season, because even during the summer when I'm traveling, this is the cardigan that I grab for as like when I wear on the plane and stuff like that. So I literally wear this cardigan year round. Additionally, I wanted to try on the pink one just because that is my most recent sample and I so wasn't happy with it. I just want to make sure I am more so on track and not repeating the same mistakes. I do like this pink color, which is why I think I'm gonna crop it, because I just think it's a lot of pink, but if it was pink plus more skin, it would be better. The fit is already better. See, like if I try to close this over my boobs, it like takes up the shape of my boobs. I have washed this one a fair amount, so like it more so is reaching the length of the blue one, so I have hope for the purple. It does feel a lot more relaxed in the body, which I like. But yeah, anyways, this one has a much tighter armhole, and I like how loose the other one is going to be. The other one's probably hitting more so like here. Actually, let's see it. What an interesting way to demonstrate this, Taylor. But yeah, honestly, so I think I'm gonna like the sleeve on this. I never felt that the sleeve was as balloony as I had hoped it would be, but we'll get into the sleeve details honestly pretty soon here. Those are all my thoughts for the body. Happy about the drop shoulder, yada yada yada. Now let us move on to the sleeve. So I feel like I'm just about to be taking things on and off constantly. In my original NYGC cardigan, my main issue with the sleeve is that it's just stretched out to be way too long. That's part of the stretching out, but it's also partially because it simply has too many rows. What I do love about it is I feel like it balloons pretty perfectly. If it wasn't for the fact that so much of the extra length like stacks up on your wrist, I actually really like how this one balloons, which, like I said, as I keep saying, it has loosened up over time, but I want to achieve this on the first go around as close as possible. And you will see this, you will see that there is some shaping here, so it's not just straight balloon. I do a few decreases into a few rows of regular double crochet to create this nice little shape, and I think I want to keep that as much as possible. On this pink version, as you can see, the balloon not ballooning. She is not ballooning. It also feels like the decreases go on for a lot longer, and it probably has the same amount of regular double crochets, but just far too many decreases. Like, I can tell it's like almost half as many regular double crochets in the balloon part as there are decreases, which I don't like. Last variation to try on is the cropped version of the NYGC cardigan. This one I made definitely sometime in if I made the other one in 2020, then I made this one sometime in 2021, maybe at the end of 2020. And I also have kind of like played around with it a little bit, but this isn't about the cropped at the moment. We're talking about the sleeve. I will say this one from the jump, and it hasn't really stretched out too much. I feel like this one balloons out in a very nice way. It does actually have a pretty long decrease, if you can see here. So I see where I got the idea for the other one, but I don't know what happened with the pink. I'm guessing maybe because just in the body, it just wasn't how it was supposed to be. So this actually gives me something to think about. I do like this one. I don't often wear this cardigan, honestly, but it has more so to do with the color. I like the color, but it just is a bit more neutral than how I'm typically styling things. But I will definitely put her on from time to time. See, looking in the mirror, I do honestly feel like this is a pretty solid balloon. I'm looking at my original pattern notes for this, and it is pretty much, it's half of the regular double crochets at like the full width of the armhole, and then almost half of the double crochets or the decreases plus a few double crochets. But in looking at this one, I don't feel like I did as many regular double crochets as I stated I did. Let me see if I can find the decreases. Yeah, I only did 5 double crochets, and I think I want to stick to that just because the number I currently have is kind of crazy. I'm keeping notes on my iPad. I do have a new journal. The reason why I have been flipping back and forth is because I literally have like maybe 4 free pages in my old journal that I've been using for the past 4 years. But anyways, okay, for the sleeve, we also need to decide the length, because the length of this sleeve is pretty perfect. If I could just have like a measuring tape and a pair of scissors magnetic to my body at all times, that would make my life a little bit easier. With the ruffle, it's at about 23 inches, but just up to the ribbing, which is really all that matters to me, it's at 22-ish inches basically, which is what I'm going to shoot for this. Let me measure this one. Like I said, the blue one, way too long. Whatever number this is, too long. But it couldn't help itself. It's just because it has stretched out so much over the years. But that's what makes it so comfy. Also, I really do think that I used a bigger hook for this blue one. I think I did use a 6.5 millimeter. But I guess we'll never know. Yeah, the blue one is at like 26 inches, not including the ribbing. Those extra 4 inches, simply too much. How do I want to go about tackling this? Let's measure the width of this, 10 inches, which should be the same starting width as this. Width of the armpit, that is, the armhole. Yes, we are right at 10 inches. Okay, that's good. Then the length of the regular bell part before we get into the decreases, it's about 13 inches. So it's about 13 inches of decreases and roughly 7 inches of, 13 inches of double crochet, 7 inches of decreases, and then 2 inches of regular double crochet. I think now onto this one. The armhole in this one is definitely tighter, which I don't think I'm going to do this next time around. I'm just going to match them up perfectly. Yeah, this one's 9 inches. Let's see where the decreases start, right around there. This balloon is less than, or like full sleeve width is less than 10 inches. Don't love that. And then to the wrist is a little bit more than 10 inches, like before we get into the ribbing. I would like to, because this ribbing is supposed to be, this ribbing is about 3 inches. Does that math? Okay, the sleeve might be more like 23 inches. How much did I put initially? I feel like I said 22. Yeah, I said 22 initially. Okay, it's more like 23. I'm thinking we keep the 13 inches of double crochet. Then for the decrease, we only do about 6 inches of that. And we really don't need that much of the regular. So yeah, we're only gonna do 6 inches of decrease. Because the whole point of this ribbing right here is to like cinch it in more. That's literally the point. And then finish it off with 1 inch of double crochet. Yeah. I feel good about that. The one thing that I'm currently contemplating is whether or not, so like the typical way that I go about doing this is I put because I aligned this with single crochets first. So I put 1 single crochet in every double crochet, plus there's these little notches every other double crochet. I don't know what you call them, but I do put it in that. So I could continue doing that. Or I could just put 2 single crochets in every double crochet and not in any of the notches. But I feel like that might make it look too full. Let's just see how we look. We'll try it out, and if we don't like it, we can always unravel. Teehee. Okay, it's the next day. It's actually election day. I didn't end up making too much progress last night. I maybe had one of these rows done, and I've just been working on this for, I don't know, like 20 minutes. But I want to just like try it on and see how it is progressing. Okay, I fear that this actually will be perfect. Like, I think that this will produce the balloon sleeve that I've been searching for. That was kind of I was actually imagining that this wasn't gonna go well, so I'm happily surprised, but my reaction's not kind of giving that. Honestly, my ears really hurt. I've been talking about how I've been dealing with really bad allergies and whatnot, and we're just vibing through life. That's why I didn't really crochet too much last night. Anywho, I'm going to continue chugging along on my sleeve. It would be my dream to finish the sleeve by the end of the day, but we'll see. No pressure.
Thank you. And thank you so much, Cindy. You are just stacking up the compliments, and my Gemini spirit loves that. Now, Cindy did mention that Mama Gwen and I are the designers for the 2024 Hobie Advent Calendar. Mom designed all the knit patterns. I designed the crochet. So if you're interested in either of those or want to get more information, you can find the link down in the description.
All right, it's later in the evening. Unfortunately, I'm not feeling the best. Just with my allergies, like my throat and my ear is really bothering me. But it's election night, and back in 2016, I took a nap, and we knew how that ends. So I'm committed to being up for the foreseeable future. It's currently 9:07, and I have a lot of cardigan to work on. I think I maybe have hit my 13 inches for the initial sleeve. Let's measure her. 13 inches? You're funny, girl. No, I'm currently at 10 inches, but let's try it on. Maybe 10 inches is the key. I'm gonna like fully try it on. Honestly, I think 10 inches might be the move. Oh my gosh. I have no words. This is so freaking cute. Like this color. Stop it. Also, yarn check-in. Let's adjust my measurements. This was 26 rows. We're doing 10 inches now. So we'll switch our decreases to be about 9 inches. Well, let's do 8 inches of decreases and 2 inches of regular double crochets. Literally in love, obsessed, amazed, and liking how this drop shoulder is feeling. Let me see how much more this is though, because with the drop shoulder, I think that's actually taking some of my technical sleeve length from me. So let's just check in on that. Why don't we? Okay, let's say this is my shoulder. We're talking about 25 inches. And then typically my sleeve would start here, which would put it at about 22 inches. So I do fear that with the drop shoulder, this is actually hitting right at 13 inches. And for that reason, I fear I actually have to put those measurements back where they were.
Yes, that's true. Well, we're just moments away from midnight here on the East Coast. What are you guys doing tomorrow? I'll tell you what you're doing. Right, the battleground states, they have not been called yet. Stay with us. We will be right back after a quick break.
Good morning. Except it's not a good morning, but it is a morning. A new day. Last night, I'm sure whenever I'm posting it, it's far enough in the future. But last night, you know, when Georgia stayed red and it was 1 o'clock in the morning, I said, I think when when Kamala Harris herself said, I'm not coming out tonight, you guys can go to sleep, I said, I will take that as my sign to go to sleep. Did I sleep well? No. I had the most strange dreams one could imagine. Sometimes okay, so here's something interesting about me and my dreams. They oftentimes are different stories, but I see a lot of the same settings, like they take place in similar settings, but it'll be like different story, new characters. So I have like these worlds in my head, I guess, while I'm dreaming. And last night's reoccurring world setting was in this like mall, and it's this like really interesting top-down open mall concept type vibe. And I can't really remember, I can actually. I was shopping in a store, or I was like walking around to different stores, and I was with a group of people my age, and one person in the group I really liked, and then I found out they liked me, something like that. So anyways, when we're in the store, he like says something to me, but I couldn't quite hear what he said, and for some reason I couldn't ask him to clarify because we just kept like moving around through the store, and so he kept like picking like all the sections for different color-coded athletic wear. It was like mostly women's stuff, but anyways, he kept picking up like different sets, and we would like make this journey to the checkout, and then I wouldn't do something that I was supposed to do, but I didn't know what I was supposed to do, and so he would like start getting more annoyed at me, and then we would do it all over again. And after like 5 times, I was like, okay, there's something I'm supposed to be doing that I'm not doing and I'm not understanding. So I finally tried to talk with him about it, and he just got so mad and I just lost it. Now during this, I was continuously waking up, getting news alerts around 3 a.m. when she lost Pennsylvania. I was like, oh God. So anyways, when I woke up again around 5 to see that she had lost, I thought to myself, anyways, last night as I tried to, what's the word when what children do when they're like self-soothe. As I was self-soothing myself, I did finish up the decreases. I also did my 2 inch of regular double crochets, and I'm working on my ribbing. I will talk to you guys about how I do the ribbing kind of on the next sleeve. I just kind of wanted to like actually be able to work on that one. But okay. Oh my gosh, this, you know what? My new motto for life after last night is I just want to find all the simple joys in life. Like any simple joy in life, I'm here for it. All the other little things, don't care. Not my business. I'm here for the simple joys in life because it's about to get dark. Oh my gosh, I love. Okay, the only thing I'm hoping is that I do kind of want this to close up a little bit more in the sense that it cinches more so around my wrist. Let me try on the other one. Here is the OG, and I guess this one isn't super tight on my wrist also. Let me, that reminds me, I need to actually wash this cardigan or spray something on it. Yeah, no, low-key, this is on track. Okay, period. I probably have like about half more rows of ribbing to go, and then we will get into the sleeve. But yeah, those are my updates. I'm going to be doing my best to stay off TikTok today, just because I was on it a lot this morning and I feel like I heard everything I needed to hear. If I really need some comfort, maybe I'll watch the actual news. Depressing. At this current moment in time, I'm happy to be able to crochet today. I do have a little bit of work to do that I'm currently doing as I crochet, but today and tomorrow are pretty light, thankfully, and we will get through it one crochet stitch at a time. So when I was working on this sleeve, I was obviously making some adjustments from my original, and the biggest adjustment that I've been making over the years is definitely to this little ruffle bit, mostly because sometimes it can be annoying in the sense that, especially when the sleeve is too long, it'll like get in your food, and it was like a little bit too floppy. And so then maybe back at the end of 2022, beginning of 2023, when I made the pink version, I decided on this more simplified ruffle, which I definitely liked. I liked it, but it wasn't quite dramatic enough, and it wasn't quite designerly enough, if I could use such an adjective. So this time around, especially in my current mindset, I just wanted to do something a bit more creative, a bit more whimsical, whatever. And this is what I came up with. It's a lot more structured. It very much so isn't gonna slide as much. Just like hold it up so you can see the difference. Now remember, this isn't the best cardigan to be putting on in the first place because it has the much longer sleeve, but even just looking here, like this one, I'm literally so excited. And initially when I was working on it, it honestly was a little bit harder just because I was making sure that I was like aligning everything properly, but I was also kind of like, oh, like, is it gonna be too structured looking to where it doesn't still give the whole ruffle look? And I feel like this purple ruffle works a lot better and makes a lot more sense with the balloon sleeve, because really, like, if we get into like the story behind the cardigan, like the reason why I have this ribbed cuff right here, in addition for the sense that it is a ribbed cuff, like the idea is that it's almost kind of like cuffing the balloon sleeve, and so now I feel like the ruffle that like is exposed from the cuff feels a lot more intentional, a lot more artistic, a lot more going along with that story than this one, which just feels like a ruffle that was added to, like, No, you don't get it. You don't get it. I'm obsessed. This blue one has been worn and loved, so it's not the best direct comparison, but you can kind of see some of the differences. And when I look at this tan one, I've had this one for maybe like a few months shorter than I've had the blue one, and it hasn't stretched out nearly as much as the blue one, so I'm going to really just stay with the fact that I think that I used a much shorter hook length. But anyways, here is like pretty good idea. Like this just feels more like a flower, more like a scrunchie versus just, you know, just, will I probably go back through and update all my sleeves? Well, yes, probably, but for now, I'm so happy. Like, in a day filled with little happiness, this has brought me much joy. Like, this is everything. Is there anything else I could possibly say about it? Not really. No, not really at all. This is how much yarn I currently have left, so I'm definitely going to need to grab my other skein. The issue is there are currently 3 large garbage bags full of yarn taking up my downstairs. I haven't felt like reorganizing my yarn shelf, and I feel like the responsible thing to do would be to reorganize my yarn shelf and grab my new skein at the same time. So like, it's this one sleeve for me. Anyways, I'm very, very happy, as you can see. Very ecstatic, very, what's the word? Satisfied at this current moment. And there's still so much more to go. And yeah, okay, let's keep chugging on.
We're working on some candles today. We are getting lunch with a friend today to break up the day. One issue I've been running into with candles is that my supplier, NYGC, they supply me with my wicks, my candle vessels. Those are like the main 2 things. I've ordered so many times from them over the past 2 weeks, and my shipments are still pending. I've been working with someone from NYGC to try to help that process and so I can get more supplies in, but I am down to the last few vessels and wicks that I have.
So now I have to tell my kids that I messed up and that they can't do anything they put their minds to.
It's the truth, and truth is science. Isn't it our job telling the truth? That was like a serious question. I haven't been here very long. I don't know the answer to that. Should I be lying more?
It's a few days later, and I have gone to the point on my second sleeve where I can talk about how I go about doing my ribbing. So if you notice in my ribbing, I don't have an example of what typical crochet ribbing looks like, but it doesn't look like this. Typically you would do like a chain and then do single crochets or half double crochets along the chain and then just like keep going up and down vertically. I build my ribbing horizontally with double crochets through something called front post, back post. If you're familiar with like a waffle stitch and stuff like that, you would also use front post, back post for that. But the reason why I switched to the front post, back post was, one, I absolutely hated doing the first type of ribbing. It was the #1 thing that I hated about doing the cardigan. It just felt like it took a lot of time. I felt like it never came out the way that I wanted it to come out, especially for how long it felt like it took. and I also kind of felt like mine would sometimes be uneven, or like if I didn't like the height of it, I would literally have to redo it because you're building it horizontally, not vertically, you know. So if you don't like the length, then there's nothing you can do. You can only adjust the width. I think it was around when I made the pink version of this cardigan back in December 2022. I'm not sure how I came across front post back post ribbing. I might have looked up different types of crochet ribbing, but to be honest with you, I don't know. But I came across a video where someone did front post back post, and I was like, oh my god, that would literally save my life. And now there's literally not a single aspect of making this cardigan in particular that I don't like, besides obviously the initial just like building it up into like a vest. But I feel like, I mean, that's just the case with anything crochet. But there's no, well, actually I'm lying to you, there's one other part that I'll talk about later, but like real things, there's not really anything. So essentially the way I do it is, for the majority of the cardigan I use a 6mm hook, but for the sleeves I use a 4mm hook, and for the ribbing for around like the bottom and the button band and around the neck, I use a 5mm hook, just because for the sleeve I want to like nicely cinch around your wrist, like kind of to the point where like it has a little bit of stretch, you know. So I like to go down 2 hook sizes, and essentially what you do is you crochet 1 regular row of double crochets, and then I'll have like a better camera angle so you can kind of see, but you slip your hook in front of the double crochet, like literally slicing the double crochet like so, and then you go in the back. I was like in the middle of one. Okay, so right here you're looking at the back, but just imagine you go literally fully in front, so like your hook is fully behind with a double crochet in front, and then in a different way you slip your hook behind, or I guess it doesn't really make sense from you guys because you're looking at the alternative, but basically you go double crochet in front and double crochet in the back, and then you just keep building it around and around and around. So I will show you a better camera angle of how I do that, but literally changed my life. Anytime I'm like talking to beginner crocheters and they complain to me about how much they hate ribbing, I always am like, girl, there's another way. Look up front post back post, FPBP, front post back post ribbing. It will change your life. So I will be doing this for about 8 rows.
And you see, Melissa, the spirit of Christmas has worked its magic after all.
Yeah, and I won $3. Merry Jacobmas.
There's not a lot of ventilation in there.
Yeah, which is what you want when you're inhaling a lot of secondhand smoke.
No, I'm not. She keeps hitting me and taking my pencil. That was my pencil, dummy.
Oh, okay. No, that's enough. We will treat each other with kindness. Now, please get up and go back to your regular seats. You don't get to decide where you sit.
I just finished the second sleeve. If it looks like I'm limping, it's because I am. No need to worry about that. Anyways, this, the cuff part, like the ribbing and the ruffle, actually take a pretty solid amount of time, just because it is a bit more detailed, even though the cardigan itself is pretty like basic design when you really think about it, but regardless. literally made me forget about my limb. My limp. Slaying. I'm literally so happy. I don't think you understand. If I could put it in when I tried on the pink cardigan way back when, and you can see my sheer disappointment compared to this moment right now. I'm living. I'm eating it up. I'm living. I've lived, laugh, loving it. It's coming out perfect. Currently, the last things that I have to do is the bottom ribbing, the ribbing on this button band, which is the new terminology I learned from Knitting YouTube. Thank you, Knitting YouTube, as well as my slight collar. And then I have to actually add my buttons, which is a whole process that you can bet your bottom dollar I will complain about in a future clip. But for now, I'm feeling good. This color, I can't believe that it's literally been so long, like, that I haven't had this color. Not really. I have a corset and skirt that aren't quite perfect, that's in a slightly more reddish pinkish purple. And I also have this cardigan. This one. This cardigan is literally a hot mess express. It was my first attempt to do like a collar situation, and it was also my first attempt to do buttons, and so I keep her of a memory as what not to do, and I will one day unravel it and turn the yarn into something different, but I'm happy. It's the next day. I'm currently working on my YouTube video that's rendering while I'm also working on this cardigan, and I finished the ribbing on the bottom, and now I'm working on the button band. And okay, I told you I would tell you about the other part of making a cardigan, this particular cardigan that I dislike, and that would be the buttons. The first time I made this cardigan, I just had regular buttons where I would, like, you know, slip the crochet through like a fake buttonhole and sew in buttons, and I just found it to be a process that I did not particularly enjoy. The reason why I didn't enjoy it, to be more specific, is because I felt like on the customer end, a crochet buttonhole, especially for the, and I have these buttons here to show you, for the size of buttons that I'm using, it just isn't the most practical thing, if I'm being honest, because like the hole has to be like small enough that when you slip the button in, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't, the hole has to be small enough that when you slip the button through, it actually stays fastened, but it also has to be big enough that you're not like fighting with the button to like stick it through the hole. And so while I don't give knitters too much props, okay, I will say one thing that I feel like works out a lot better with knitting are things like buttonholes, just because the stitches themselves are a little bit smaller and thinner, so I feel like it's easier to kind of like, while it might be hard to figure out, it's a lot easier to have a button. So what I've been doing in the past is having snaps, if you can see, as well as the buttons. And I like what it does. So it essentially creates more of a jacket sort of feel to my cardigans. It's something that customers have said that they really like. And so it works out in that front. But on the other end, I absolutely hate sewing, and adding the snaps with the buttons means that I'm sewing triple because I have to sew on the front and the back of the snap as well as the button itself. I also, like, sometimes the way I'm sewing the button and the closure part together, like, these are actually extremely secure, so this isn't the best example, but sometimes I don't feel like I'm able to get it super secure. And yeah, it's just, if there's a way that I can figure this out, that would be cool. So I'm at a portion, like I said, on this purple one where I'm working on the button band, and I'm like, you know what, I actually haven't played around with the idea of not using the snaps in a long time, so let's just do a little fake stitch and see how that would work. So I'm just going to do a chain 1, skip a stitch, and then do another situation like so. Let me go just a little bit further so that we can kind of get a feel. And I'm actually going to use the buttons on this cardigan because my buttons are in a different room, and that honestly won't be as effective anyways. So I have my little hole. You can see it'll definitely be a lot more exaggerated if I were to go back through the other direction to, like, you know, whatever. And I'm just going to try to attach. I have my hole right here, my button, and if I slip this through, how do I feel about that? This is how it looks. It does seem pretty secure. I don't hate it, if I'm being honest with you. I think it's worth playing around a bit, actually seriously playing around a bit. Because I mean, the thing is, I don't really, like, I don't know, I kind of like that. My thing is, this is just gonna stretch out over time. So let me fake act like I'm going back through another time. Like, let me add a fake row onto this without going all the way to the bottom, just to test and see what it would look like with the extra reinforcement of slipping a double crochet through the chain. Okay. This kind of gives you an idea of how it looks. Something like that. So I do feel like the buttonhole is very clearly outlined. Now let's try slipping a button through. These are the vibes. I do not hate the way that looks. Do I feel like the button is actually secure? Honestly, yeah, I'm not super worried about it slipping out. Not super. Is it worth trying, you guys? I've literally been doing the snaps for forever, but I just feel like I'm kind of getting to a point where I'm personally over the snaps. In terms of the creation process, I'm a bit over the snaps. I think it's worth trying, because at the end of the day, if it is the case that the buttons do slip out, then that just means eventually I need to look for a bigger button. And I would rather look for a bigger button and only have to sew one time than keep as things have been going and have to sew 3 times. All right. Yeah, I'm pretty satisfied with this. I am. And no, not and. I was gonna say, if I really was worried about this, I could always reinforce this with a bit of hand sewing. Like I could even hand sew with the yarn to just like reinforce the hole a bit, which I might do, but I can always do that after the fact. So, you know what? We are going to try something different. So, I'm going to unravel all this and kind of plan out where I want my buttons to go. I'm currently at a preposterous angle. Otherwise, I would have got my actual regular size NYGC cardigan, but I could only reach my cropped, and due to my foot, I don't quite feel like getting up. Another thing I would like to improve upon is the amount of buttons that are on this. So this is the cropped version, which has 4, and then the regular length has 6. I think I would prefer more of an odd number. So I would say for this one, I think I would like to have 5. And for the cropped, or I mean for the regular, I don't know if I want 7 or 9. This feels like a good time. How many stitch markers do I have near me? I think I only have 4. We can play around. We can play around. Okay. Let's just imagine this. I also never actually I never measure this in any particular way that makes good sense. I'm finishing unraveling that 3rd row because this is where I'm going to put my buttons. And I'm a little bit concerned. Is this the right size? Shoot. Yeah, yes. So I know I want 1 at the very top. At the top, I'm going to do the I want them to be, how do I put this in a way that makes sense? I want this, so I'm working on the inside right now, but on the outside, I want to make sure that the holes are on the part that makes the most sense, which is this bottom part. Okay, so on this side, all the out facing ridges, the front post is where I would consider putting buttonhole. So I'm going to slip this through the first one. Boom. And then I'm going to take my tape measure right here, and I'm going to figure out a good placement. Currently I have about 19 inches worth of button banding. 19 isn't really divisible by anything too good. 18 is, however, and that would get me to 6. So the most I could extra push it would be potentially to 3. Let me put these like every other stitch, or like every 6 stitch. I'll space it out that way first. And then we have 6 again, but that doesn't fully make sense, actually, now I'm thinking about it. So let's say that we really only have 16 inches worth of space. So we could do every 4. Or we could do every 5. Yeah, let's do that. It's really working out that all these numbers are actually aligning on the front post. Yay. And then we have 15, which is like here. Need another stitch marker. This is where we're currently at. I need more stitch markers. Here is 3 more stitch markers, and I also grabbed the OG cardigan to show and actually to count how many buttons are on here. Oh, this one only has 5. But I still feel like it's a little bit more spaced out than I want. And I do like a buttoned look. Okay, hopefully this angle gives you a better idea of what's going on. But I just re-spaced these out so that there are 9 stitches between all the stitch markers, and I'm going to start playing around with ways that I can crowd in a few more. So first I'm going to move it up so that there's only 6 stitch markers between each of these. I like the spacing, but is this one too low? Does it feel kind of low-key unnecessary? It does feel a little bit unnecessary, the little 5th one there. but I think it would be cute. Like looking right here, I do like the way this looks. Okay, for giggles, let's move a few of these up to 5 just to see. How do you feel about that? It does feel a little bit too close. I think 6 is our lucky number. And if the bottom one is a little bit unnecessarily there, it's okay. You know, it's fine. I like that. It feels a bit more balanced than this one. If we are to hold them side by side, the purple just feels a little bit more full. Like I like that on the purple we can see 4 buttons as opposed to the 3 here. So I'm gonna write that down. I'm putting these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Technically it's like 7, but whatever. Hopefully future Taylor will remember what he's talking about.
It's done. And if I'm being completely honest, it turned out as good as I expected at the very beginning and much better than I expected at the halfway point. A lot of the choices I fussed over, I am really happy to say, and it's most likely just a little bit of luck. But I'm happy to say that they were good choices. I like the small gauge, though I would not do that again. I like the small gauge of the crochet and the knitting. I like the 2x2 rib. I like the V-neck. It's a very unique V-neck shape for me. I have so many clear takeaways, and I am not turning my back on granny squares anytime soon, but I have a much clearer vision of what to do next time to make it a far more enjoyable experience for me. Next time I attempt to make a granny square project, I would like to make a full sweater at some point in time, but I would like to make a project with a larger hook size and a larger gauge in general.
Due to a series of unfortunate events, I had to unravel all my progress because I forgot to put 2 little single crochets at the very top, and so I was 2 single crochets short on my ribbing, and sometimes that doesn't matter, but considering I still have to do the other side, it wasn't going to quite match up. But it's fine because I was able to adjust it so that the first button is a little bit lower just because I didn't quite love where it's at, and the bottom button is right where the ribbing starts, which is perfect because I feel like that's a practical place that a person might actually use that button as opposed to way down here. The likelihood of you using that is a lot shorter. Regardless, I'm still actually really excited or really happy with what was decided with the buttons. The only change that I made as I was going through that you saw me initially unravel a little bit of was, instead of doing a chain in between like where the buttonhole is, I just skipped that stitch entirely so that's a little bit more closed, and then when I went back through I would double crochet in that skip stitch, so I would put that stitch back basically. Anyways, I am going to finally finish up this ribbing, and I will see you maybe when it's time to actually add the buttons.
I feel like I'm just going to be repeating myself for all of these projects, but again, this turned out so much cuter than I expected it to. And the way I made the shoulders, I can't even begin to express how obsessed I am. For ages, ever since having my knitting machine, I would always only make my pieces in rectangles. So I'd make a rectangle for the front and the back, like I did for this top, and then the arms I would also make into rectangles. That's an easy, quick fix, I think, to create pieces, but I have recently thought it would be something. Thank you so much for watching.
When you save big on holiday decor, you can't help but say,
I got them at Ross.
Impressive.
I got it all at Ross.
Love. I've actually wanted to get it tattooed for a while, but I'm really still unsure about the placement. So whilst I'm making my mind up about the tattoo, I thought I would put the quote onto a jumper so I can actually wear it this winter. This also goes hand in hand with the fact that I haven't made like a good basic wearable jumper in a long time, if ever. And I just wanted to challenge myself. So we're gonna make this in a week, and you might be wondering how.
And boom, here's the finished cardigan. I wanted to show it flat before I actually tried it on so that you can see how well the buttons work, not me not weaving in my ends. Anywho, I love her, but okay, let's actually put her on and see how easy it is to take the buttons off. I will say that sewing on the buttons was not nearly as painful. It was very easy to find where I need to place everything. Honestly, 10 out of 10 experience. Literally get into it. Okay, let's see how easy it is to find the buttonholes when it's actually off. Like even just the one. But okay. I was a little bit worried about the purple of this button because it's not quite an exact match, but I actually quite like it. I would very rarely button up this much, but should you want to, you can. Also, the girls have been buttoning just the top one, so I kind of want to see what that's like. Oh, okay, that kind of eats. So yeah, here's my finished updated NYGC cardigan. If you're curious how long it took me, it took about 37 hours. I did make some updates from this one to, or from this one to this one, and honestly I felt like all the updates were well worth the additional amount of time that they may have taken. Another real reason why I really like this cardigan is because this yarn itself is already very soft but structured, but the more you wash it, I even put this one in the dryer, it just gets even more softer, but the stitches themselves don't like relax to the point where it's like too much, you know? But yeah, here is a full look. I'm honestly, I would say definitely most pleased with the new arm situation. I feel like this looks a lot more elegant, a lot more structured, and a lot more adjacent to the kind of like intentional intricacies that I'm starting to like put into my brand. Also, I am loving the buttons without the snaps. I feel like the snaps serve their purpose, and I'll definitely start taking a look at some of my other designs and deciding which ones I want to keep the snaps for such and such. But at least for this cardigan, moving forward, I feel like the buttons are the vibe. That's the end of this video. If you want to see more of me, make sure that you're following me on Instagram and TikTok. If you are interested in shopping my made-to-order pieces, you can go to my website, nygcbytaylor.com. Stay tuned because I think in a video coming soon, I'm going to change that pink one into a cropped version of this, and I'm sure you're gonna want to see how that turns out. Bye, guys.